Hey, how about some more cycling thoughts with through axle cycling? Handlebars, and more importantly, the handlebar fit when you're buying a new bike or fitting in a bike. Things to think about with the handlebar. I never thought about this back in the day because you just bought a set of handlebars, then you threw them on there and you went for it. Okay, so as far as reach, how far you're reaching out on your bike, if it's too short or too long, you can replace the stem, right? Everybody knows that. But you can also replace your handlebars. Now if you look at the front of this FSA bar, you can see what size it is. And it says it's a 420 millimeter width, but you got to watch that when you're buying a bar because manufacturers, once again, do different stuff. And these bars are not 42 wide. They are 42 wide from the center of the drops, and they flare out. So up here, they're more like a little bit over 40. And this is where, you know, your hoods are going to be when you're riding. So basically, these are like 40 some, but they're not 42. They're 42 down in the drops, okay? So figure out if you're particular how the manufacturer is measuring, which can be tough before you buy your bars, unless you can bring your tape, your metric tape that I've told you about. Take that to the bike shop with you if you're going to be buying them in person. Measure them, okay? The next figure is drop here. We've got 125 millimeters of drop. So other bars are different. Some of them have really deep drops. Some are, this is a compact bar, it's fairly shallow. Some are even more shallow than this. Okay, but the figure we're concerned with is this bottom figure, which is 80 millimeters of reach. Okay, and that is basically from the center line of the bar to where your hoods would be in the front. So that's how far, once again, you're out there. Okay, so if your bike is too short by say 5 millimeters or whatever, maybe you can find a bar that's 85 millimeters of reach. One I can think of that's 5 millimeters shorter is the Specialized hover bar, which is a 75 reach and also a 15 millimeter rise if your stack is too low on your bike. Okay, if you don't know what stack and reach is, I have a thought about that. You should watch that video. Then I'll have 3 views on it. So anyway, if you're buying, you know, bars, know what you're buying, know what size you're buying, so you don't end up uncomfortable. Okay, if you're trying to change things, maybe you don't have to change your stem. Maybe you go with a longer reach, which would have the advantage of, if you were riding on the tops, okay, your bike is a little bit shorter, so you're a little bit more upright if you prefer that position, like when you're climbing, okay? And then when you're on the hoods, which is where I'm at, you know, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, you have that little extra bit of reach. And then if you get a bar that is a little bit deeper, maybe that you have a higher stack, okay? So when you're on your hoods, you're up a little bit more. When you're here, you're up a little bit more because you're actually back. But when you get on the drops, okay, you've got that extra reach, you've got that extra drop, all of a sudden you have a high stack and a high reach, but now you're in a racing position almost when you're on the drops. So when your really powerful friend decides to drop a cherry bomb, I patented that saying, and you have to chase him, you could be on the drops and be aero even though your bike is not maybe that aero because you're old like I am. So there's a thought on a bar. Of course, if you do choose a shorter reach bar and then go with a longer stem, then all of your positioning is going to be, you know, out further. And if you find that comfortable, that's cool. You might be a little bit more aero, a little bit more aggressive position. But just keep in mind that handlebars do come in a very wide variety of shapes and lengths and drops, and it really can mess with your head when you're trying to figure out how to fit a bike. But if you have a frame in mind, maybe the reach is too long, shorter stack, cuts 5 off. If it's a little bit low, 15 millimeters higher, hey, all of a sudden it's not that low. So there are ways that you can really affect your fit with the simple handlebar change. So that's something to think about. And that is my thought on handlebars today. Thanks for watching.